Hey guys, welcome to day 8. I can't believe we're already a week into this. It's crazy. It'll be like, I think it's 14 days from today when Brandy and I leave for Punta Cana, which is so exciting. It still doesn't even feel real that we earned that trip. It's incredible. Just think this could be you this time next year. So a year ago from today, I'm pretty sure I was a lead or star consultant with like 5 people on my team. And I came back and I just went all out and promoted to lead in November. So it could be you. So yeah, that's something exciting to look forward to. Sorry, just a second. I need to plug my laptop in. So today we're going to talk about like organization and balancing the many different roles that you have with your Scentsy business. So organization is such a huge part of life. My room is not always clean, but I mean, it's often a disaster. I don't know if you guys can see. My closet is always seriously such a disaster. But I don't mean like necessarily organization like that. I mean organization like in your mind and having lists. Lists are seriously like my savior. So I really try to keep balanced how I work my Scentsy, how I work my other 2 jobs, my personal life, my social life, my family life. I know my family life is a lot different than some of your guys's because I don't have kids, I'm not married, and I understand that. But we all have our own balances that we need to work out. And sometimes the focus of your Scentsy business can be taken away from your family, and your Scentsy business can take away from your family as well. So just kind of some like examples. Sometimes like I'll hit a super amazing goal. So last month in April, I hit 2,000 PRV, which was super exciting, and I was so excited about it. But then, I got to see for my physiology final exam score. And so I was super bummed about that, but I was happy about Scentsy, and I always wondered, like if I hadn't done those 2 home parties on the weekend in April, maybe I could have studied more and I could have done better on this exam, and then I could have done better overall. And so I get really down on myself sometimes. So like, have you been in this place where you're not sure how to balance things? You kind of regret how you spent your time on something rather than something else. So the goal is not to succeed in one thing and fail in another. So this video is going to just kind of talk about how to work your business and not sacrifice things that are important to you in other aspects of your life in order to have success with Scentsy. So I'm going to introduce you some ideas just to incorporate more balance in your life. So just choose one thing that you think, oh, like that is something I really need to work on, or choose a couple. Just do whatever you need to do to find that balance. So my first advice is to be proactive. If you know you have a busy month, so like for me, I knew April was going to be a really busy month, so I set aside a specific amount of time. I know in June and July, I'm going to be spending a week in Punta Cana and then a week in Kansas City for reunion. So I'm going to make sure that I still am able to hit my goal in sales. So yeah, just make a plan and do it in advance. Don't wait until the last minute. So sometimes people will say like, well, I'm kind of, skipping out on my family. If I'm going to work my Scentsy business, that means I can't cook or I can't clean my house. So my advice to you would be cook on specific days. Make a meal schedule. So Monday, you know what you're going to have. Tuesday, you know what you're going to have. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you know what you're going to have. And then that way you can cook it in advance, or you can set aside like on Monday and Thursday, if you want to cook something with hamburger and cook double the amount of hamburger, and then that work is already done. So if you want to have spaghetti on Monday and then on Wednesday you want to have tacos, then that work is already done. You could do the same with like chicken and stuff like that. So just make a list of what you're going to have and plan it out. that often really helps me. I know I'm not cooking for a family, but I do meal prep, and so I meal prep on like one day a week, depending on what my obligations are that week. And I set aside that time and make sure that I get it done. Cleaning. So like I said, my room is literally always a disaster, especially after I'm organizing a party. So I put like order forms, I have ribbon I tie my bags with, I have name tags, there's Scentsy literally everywhere on my floor. It just is kind of all over. So my room is always a disaster. And I know that I personally feel better about myself and my business and just like my life in general when I have a clean room, a clean apartment. So sometimes I feel guilty about not doing things like that. So like cleaning. And it's really hard to keep up. I'm sure some of you feel the same way, especially those of you who do have kids that you have to clean up after as well. So just make a list of the things, again with the lists, make a list of the things that you need to do in order to help you feel more successful. So I'm terrible with laundry, so I'll set aside like one day, or I know if I have the morning off on Friday, I'm like, I'm going to put away those 4 loads of laundry that are waiting for me. So I do that. Do like a chore every day or something, whatever works for you, whether you set aside like 2 hours to clean a week, or I know that probably seems like nothing to some of you moms, but the gist is just set aside the time, make a list, be proactive, and know what the plan is. Also, delegate responsibilities. Those of you with kids, make your kids clean. This is an important part of adulthood. I always had chores growing up, so that might be something for you guys to do too. And also with your Scentsy, ask your family and friends for help. Oftentimes, like, people just want to do it themselves. You have a system going and you know exactly what you want done. But if you just ask for help, it could be like a bonding experience. So those of you who are married or with kids, if you ask your husband or your kids to help you, I'm sure that they would love to help you. Have them put stickers on your bars, or staple your business cards to catalogs or to your samples, or make samples. That's going to be a real bonding experience, and you're also sharing a part of yourself with your family and friends. Those of you who aren't married or have kids, ask your roommates or your friends. It really can be a bonding experience. And then you can share about your business, and that's a really important part of my life, and I hope that it's an important part of your life if you're doing this program. So yeah, just share the responsibilities, and it will really ease the workload for yourself as well. Something I have always said when people ask me how I balance, I work this week, I'm working 92 hours, I think, just this week. And then next week I'll work like 88. And I just graduated a few weeks ago, but people will always ask, like, how do you balance all of your work, your Scentsy, plus all of your schoolwork? And I just tell them, like, I have balance. Something I like to make lists, and I just set aside specific amounts of time to do things. So my suggestion to you is to set aside time for a power hour. So set aside like 1 hour a week or a day, depending on like what your schedule will allow, even if it's just 15 minutes or 30 minutes a day. Just set aside time that you are going to dedicate specifically to Scentsy. If you do this and set aside that time and really focus on what you need to do, make a list. Again, list, you guys, list, seriously. Let me find, there's these like Scentsy wish lists in the family store, and I think I have like 4 of these, and seriously, they saved my life. I make my list on here. I like how it's a really long thing of paper, so I can have really long lists. But seriously, make a list. It doesn't have to be Scentsy stuff, but just make a list on a piece of paper. Set aside the time and do it. Whether you have 5 things on your list or 10 things on your list, set aside time, sit down, and do not get up until you do it. Whether that's, reaching out to 10 people a day, organizing a party, whatever it is, just make sure that you set aside the time to do it, and make it a priority. Your business should be a priority. So we talked about on day 6 about the difference between a hobby and a business. So if you are running a business, you need to set aside the time and prioritize it. So do that with a power hour. You can also incorporate this with even like your friends and family, your significant other. Have them help you sort a party. Be like, we have to sort this party before we go to the park. If we sort this party, then we can stay at the park all afternoon, or we can go to the pool and be there all afternoon, or we can go on a date night tomorrow, or I'll go out to the bars with you if you're going out with friends. Just set aside that time and get it done. That's my advice to you. So hopefully some of these balancing techniques can help you in organizing both your personal life and your Scentsy business. And remember, family should always come before your business. I'm not saying that it's inflexible. How I run my business is always going to be different than how you run yours, and our balances are always going to be different, but we just have to find the balance in the middle to be able to focus on both and prioritize both. So, your challenge for today is to make a list of what you are going to prioritize for your Scentsy business for today. Make a list. Share your list in the comments. Like the video after you finished watching, and set aside that time and do it. And let us know your progress once you've completed your to-do list and have your power hour finished. And again, it doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be an excessive amount of time. Just even if it's 15 or 30 minutes and you set aside that time to do it, you'll be surprised how beneficial it can be for your business. So have a good day, guys.